They absolutely suck at development of new agents. You receive absolutely no help or support. Felt abandoned and overwhelmed by the onslaught of information and inability to connect with someone who could walk me through how to do a large number of checklists for getting me set up. And on it goes. What am I talking about here? What I'm talking about here is what is happening in the real estate industry as of late. You see, there was a report that came out just earlier this week here, and especially now that the new year started in January 2024, that was a scathing rebuke as to the real estate residential industry when it comes to agents and their performance and their incompetency in getting the transactions done in a smooth way. How's it going? My name is Luis Torres. I'm here on YouTube as Luis the Broker, all of social media here. And what I want to do here is bring you news that realtors can use with these stories. Always be prepared to have an answer ready to those who ask you, what are you doing? Give me a professional opinion about what's happening in the market. And I have had those situations happen all the time here in my business. And I want to make sure that you as well have that information ready to go. And I just wanted to bring this up here. This article was actually first featured and first came to my eyes from Housing Wire, where they talk about basically what this report says. Now, this report came out of the Consumer Federation of America, which is a nonprofit group, a nonprofit organization that, yeah, of course, is out there advocating for the average consumer out there, for the general public, and rightly so. And they did a report on real estate agents and basically the surfeit of real estate agents, a surfeit of real estate agents, basically saying that there's just way too many agents out there, and that the agents that do become working with the public and getting into a brokerage and whatnot, they are the ones who are basically, out there in the world and not prepared enough. They talk about the low barrier of entry and the lack of preparation. And that's what I started this video off with. Some of these were quotes that the report itself, again, set up by the Consumer Federation of America, quoted realtors saying. Now, obviously, the National Association of Realtors is going to come up with their own reports. They do surveys from other realtors, and they do report, how many transactions they've done or how many, you gotta bear with me here with the camera, but how many sales they've done in volume. And let me just take you here and walk you through what this article says. Now, I here have posted the Housing Wire article that showed up here January 10th, 2024. Today is the 11th, which was just yesterday. This report here on Housing Wire was published by Will Robinson, excuse me. And basically, this study shows agents are aplenty, it says here, most with few or no sales indeed. Okay, so that is the reality of what's happening here in the real estate market here, not just locally, but even nationally. Of course, everything is local and everything is national as well. There are a lot of agents out there, right? And not every single agent is one and the same. There are agents out there in the industry that do indeed care about what is happening in the market, right? There are those who are active in the market. There are those who are in conversations all the time. They have a CRM where they're in the data and conversating with folks on a daily basis. They're talking about sellers and buyers, trying to connect folks on a regular basis, right? And then there are the vast majority residential, they say here, and I'll bring up statistics to show this, but there are a lot of part-time agents. And those who are part-time because of necessity, because of the fact that in real estate, residential side at least, there's not enough, I guess, business to go around to keep all of the agents, basically fed and content. Like if you go to a regular place of business, be it an employment place or anything like that, any old company, an employee, go on the Facebook marketplace, you look for a job, you go to Indeed and you look for a job, you get hired full time, and that salary, is expected to pay for all of your expenses. You don't need to go work at another part-time job just to keep up with expenses. Now, obviously, inflation and cost of goods and everything going up, that's a different topic for another day. But by and large and in general, you would expect that if you go work at a ABC company full time, even with benefits and whatnot, that should be enough to provide. So therefore, you could go out there and work 8-hour shift and whatnot and come back home with a paycheck that will be enough to satisfy your needs, not only for yourself, but for your family, right? And get fed and everything else. Well, in the real estate industry, the residential side especially, that's not enough, right? I mean, the folks working in the industry have to scrape and work hard to try to find folks enough, right, to fill up their pipeline, that, which is another way of saying their list of potential clients, and then finally get the work done. So, I mean, look, this is a good way of looking at it. If you're working with a real estate agent, you got to give them a lot of love because they're basically working for free. And I myself am a real estate agent. I let you know that here in the area, I am a real estate broker here in the Chicagoland area. Obviously, if you're looking for someone to help you sell a house, reach out to me, 630-777-4597. But the realtor that you're working with, I mean, they work for free until they don't. And then at that point, they are going to, get paid for their services. That's why, if you feel like you have to badger them down and break down the fees for service as little as possible, you do that, but knowing the fact that, especially if they're working through this through part time, you're really getting into their coffers, you could say, and that might not be enough. And according to this report, especially those agents that have been in the business for less than 5 years, they're averaging about even 4 to 5 closed deals per year, which in their reportings and their findings here, they're saying that it's about $10,000 per year, according to this. So let me take a look here at the article as I'll be reading here about it and giving you some more information. So basically, it says here most agents seldom sell homes. They hardly. It's rare when they sell homes, according to a new study published by Consumer Federation of America just last week. It says here, the study, which is just part one, which is I have here part three of it. There's actually two other parts, a grand total of 3-part topic. Suggests that a big portion of agents in the U.S. sell at most. They sell at most just 5 homes per year. Yes, you heard that right. 5 homes. And if the average commission, let's say, is for that one, 3,000 or 4,000 fees for service, then you just do the math there. Anywhere from 10 to 15, $20,000 a year. Last time you checked, did you see how much you get paid salary for your job as a full-time worker? It's probably 60, 70K per year, probably, right? And so for those who work in the real estate residential space, especially if they're forced to work part-time, that's all they're making. Now listen here. This is of all the average area studied, 70% of agents sold 5 or fewer homes in the past year. Okay, so again, this Consumer Federation report, okay, of America report, they said here, out of those surveyed, 7 out of 10 of those agents sold less than 5 homes per year. Just that's not a big number. And on top of that, too, they also, when they were doing their survey, they found that almost half sold only 1 or even no homes in the last year. Okay. Now, the National Association of Realtors, of which I am a member here with my local MLS, but they did publish a study back in the day, some time ago, that said that most, that the realtors, they median amount of, transactions per year was about 12, is what that study cited. And just give me a comment if you want to know the exact number. I'll reach out and find that information for you. But the point is that they were reporting that it was about 56,000 per year. Is what the average or the median realtor was reporting. But that's basically them surveying other real estate agents who are active and full-time, right? And obviously, if they're full-time, they're doing much more volume. And as opposed to those who are in the residential real estate space that are in part-time. Again, according to this, they only do anywhere from, 0 to 5 transactions, especially in the first couple of years as a real estate agent, okay? It says here the studies find they are far below the 12 sales per year because of the survey that they did. Okay, so according to the National Association of Realtors, they have a higher number, and according to the Consumer Federation of America, that number is far below what the National Association of Realtors is reporting. Unfortunately, okay, so that's what the Housing Wire article here is talking about, just highlighting the fact that real estate agents are struggling to come up with deals. Now, other analysts, I'm sorry, have similarly concluded that the top 20% of agents, are responsible for 80 to 90% of all the sales that happen. Now, there is a Pareto principle that says, 80-20, right? 20% do the most work, 80% just kind of, flounder around or whatever the case is. And I mean, that's what's happening here in the real estate space, especially for you who is a real estate agent watching this as well. I mean, you have to basically, it's like survival of the fittest. Now, I have a podcast, I have a YouTube channel that, I talk about what's happening in the news, but in my podcast, I go into depth, and I seek to encourage, the person listening, especially someone like yourself or myself, who am, in my third year as a real estate agent. According to the statistics, in the first 5 years, 75% of the realtors just walk away. They just quit, right? And why wouldn't they, right? Again, if they see only one or two sales per year, maybe max 4 or 5 in a good year as a, first year, part-time agent, you're not going to really see a lot of success there unless you really do something crazy. But you know what? Like I said, in my podcast, I do encourage and seek out to motivate agents like myself and yourself on a regular basis. So make sure to look out for that. At least the broker, I do have that on Spotify. If you want to, go ahead and listen to that. These are about an hour long motivation. If you're out there working out, if you're out there, doing some kind of work with your hands, or working in the kitchen or whatever the case is, if you want fresh daily dose of motivation, not something repeated over and over again, like one YouTube video repeated like 10 times. No, when we're talking about daily, fresh, new sources of information and data and inspiration coming from different point of view every single day, then go ahead and watch this, because this is something that's going to help motivate you. But let me keep going here with this Consumer Federation of America, this Housing Wire report here. They do say that, yeah, the top 20% of agents are responsible for 80 to 90% of transactions. The second part of this three-part study, it says here, according to Housing Wire, Brobeck argues it is too easy to become a licensed agent. On average, nationally, it takes about 70 credit hours to get a real estate license. And that's the fact, right? 70. Now, here in Illinois, it's 45 credit hours. When I took my course to get the real estate license, yeah, it was 45 hours. It didn't mean that I just 2 days, it took me 48 hours, right, to go through the whole entire course. But it took me at least 2 months of just, straight studying every single day, and then passing my tests. All in all, when I really put it down to it, it did take me about 3 months or so. But I am a big, supporter of, if, guidelines, if regulations get so strict that they would require some sort of college education or some sort of degree, then I'm all for it, right? Let's work on getting that part there. But at the same time, you shouldn't be penalized if you are still a hard worker, even if you don't have that kind of degree to get you to that point. Like, you should still be able to work. If you're a hard worker, you're going to survive in this field, right? I wouldn't let some report that says, the agents are not really performing well, and, what am I going to do because agents are, leaving the industry. Look, if they want to leave, then leave, right? But I do believe that if you work hard and you're diligent and you do what you have to do, a lot of that encouragement is found, again, through other mediums. But I will give you something that has supported me throughout the last 2 years, and that's the daily podcast that I record on a daily basis. That helps me to stay motivated, and it really touches on those sensitive subjects and really touches on those nerves and those things that slow you down, and it helps you to get yourself up again, okay? Because if these statistics are true, and you don't want to be in the statistic of the 75% that quits in the first 5 years, then go ahead and listen to that and make it something that is going to motivate you to get moving in the right direction, okay? So to be there, because you became a real estate agent for a reason, and that was to support. Now, speaking of support, this report also highlights brokerages and their liability, right? Brokerages and their availability to train and to mentor. And to be honest, I mean, I myself, in my own experience in real estate, I've been privileged to work with one Mauricio Lopez, who is here in the Chicagoland area as well. Reach out to him. He'll help you out with the real estate transaction. A very good mentor. But we are all limited in our time. And he is one who is not too busy to help you, right? He always takes the call and he explains to you just like a doctor would explain to you. He's got that, calm, responsible approach and care that is, very helpful, especially if you're new trying to learn the industry. But by and large, though, there's a lot of other brokerages out here. According to, realtors who have been surveyed, like I was reading to you in the beginning of this video, those were quotes from other realtors, according to this report here, published by the the Confederate, is it called? CF. Now I gotta look it up. Who is it again, right? I have the information here. The Consumer Federation of America, right? They quoted other realtors about the type of training they get and the type of help they're getting, and they said this: you received absolutely no help or support. I was stood up multiple times by my broker when meetings were scheduled. After asking for help, some of my questions were ignored. I will be switching brokerages soon, they say. I don't think that everything promised to me was provided. um, I really feel like I've been left to figure out the business on my own. They say they need to give more guidance and mentoring, maybe even an opportunity to shadow other agents. And I've always been, just a proponent of this kind of work. Real estate agents really are left almost out to hang out and dry, basically. Yeah, I mean, we could take an online course, but if you don't have the drive and the motivation to keep yourself moving forward, yeah, it's not going to really work out for you, right? Because unless you can find a way to motivate yourself, like I have, and to stay as motivated as possible, at the end of the day, people are not really going to come and rescue you and help you, because think about it, they have their own busyness, their own busy life, right? Think about it like this from their perspective, right? You want to play the devil's advocate a little bit? Let's play it. They have their own life, their own children. They're busy showing homes, they're busy calling, they're busy trying to make deals happen. And I get it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say you must do this and you must do that, right? And I'm going to provide to you a solution that I think is going to be helpful for you. And if I ever get a brokerage for myself, this is what I would do, right? But I get it. Folks are busy, they have showings and everything else. And so the amount of time that they have to teach someone else, it kind of feels like you're being weighed down, because you can still keep on doing other work. That's why realtors, they pay for administrative assistants and they pay for others to do like their social media and other things, because these are kind of tasks that could be pushed away to other people. And brokers and realtors, we're all salespeople. We're trying to get the next deal. What's the next one? What's the next one? Let's keep it moving, right? And so that's what happens. And obviously, to sit down and mentor somebody is time consuming. And even when I first started in my real estate career, I was promised, to be mentored by someone who was maybe the lone person in the brokerage, some place here in the southern part of the suburbs of Chicago. Anyway, the point is, they were going to take me on and sponsor me. But when it came down to it and I started to ask some questions and kind of, weigh the options of what's here and what's there, he said, I don't have time for this. I'm sorry. I'm not the person for you. All right. And that's that, right? They wanted to focus on their business, and that's okay. But that's the main thing that this report is highlighting, is the fact that there's just not enough mentorship going on here. So my solution to this would be this, right? Basically, if I was a broker, a managing broker, if I had my own brokerage, right? Torres Realty or something, I don't know. I would be as available as possible. Now, I understand that there are times where you are going to be open, right? I highlight this in my podcast. Make sure to follow me there. I'm on Spotify, but you can find it anywhere podcasts are. Find me at Luis the Broker. They're called Business Ideas, right? Daily inspiration with new inspiration every single day, fresh out from my mind, right? But anyway, with colorful illustrations and motivational way. It's not just like a one way of saying something in a monotone. No, but there's like different tones. Anyway, the point is, listen and let me know what you think. All right, what we can do to improve. But anyway, but that's what I would do, right? There's an open hours to do business, and there's a closed hours when you're not doing business. And those are the times where I would, focus on training and mentoring. If I was a broker, right, that's what I would do, right? And I would open up the office hours, and I would have no specific off. I would just go out into the public place, to some restaurant or some coffee shop, and do my work there, and invite all those who wanted to learn to come and learn and be with me, next to me, making calls, and we're having conversations. I would have you walk or drive with me to the showings, and we would just be together all day long. That's what mentorship is to me. So if I was in charge, and I'm not a managing broker at the moment, but I do invite other realtors, especially newer realtors, to follow me, and we'll talk about the real estate business together. We'll learn, or we'll teach whatever I know, how to guide you and what to expect. But the more time you spend with that person, that's how you're going to be able to learn. So anyway, this is a scathing report, but I don't take it as a rebuke. I don't take it as a way to say, what, I really shouldn't, be in the business anymore. Like, maybe I should just be a bowling pin director somewhere in a restaurant, working as a waiter or something. If this is not for you, this is not for you, right? There's a lot of turnover. There's all the time people dropping out of the real estate business as fast as they're coming in. But if you don't want this kind of work, don't be discouraged. But if you are discouraged from this, maybe it was a good thing for me to show this to you, right? Because that's just what is being reported out there. I believe that is a reality. Am I pushed back by this, being that it's only my third year doing real estate? Of course not. Of course not. I'm more encouraged, and every single day, I don't sit here and figure out, hey, what's everybody doing? No, I just focus on myself and focus on what I have. Again, in my podcast, I do talk about my mentality and why I'm able to be driven even now every single day without losing momentum, because every day I get back to the meetings that I have with myself, and I hold nothing back, and I'm brutally honest with myself, right? And I say some things there that are tough to swallow, but very encouraging as well. And that's what keeps me going. So, am I discouraged by this report? Absolutely not. Do I feel that I'm only going to make $10,000 this year? No. 4 to 5 deals this year? No. It's barely been in my first 9 days of this year just cold calling, because I did the effort, right? Because I made thousands and thousands of calls already and made sure to keep up. And I had systems in place that I do. And I talk about that in my podcasts, my systems in my business. I already have a whole pipeline full of folks that are looking to make a move. So it's my job to keep them up to date with what's happening in the market, right? So anyway, I'm encouraged, and I'm not going to let a report like this sink my ship. In other words, I'm going to fortify my ship and continue to blast forward, and have blinders on like a horse, just like, what, I'm not going to look around and see what others are doing, and who's falling and whatnot. What are you doing? Don't do that, right? There's a reason why, even race car drivers, when they're racing, they're not focused on who's coming next to me. What are they doing? Is there a rear view mirror? No, they're just looking ahead and making sure that they stay the course in their own lane, and then they seek strategies to get ahead, and they kind of do this and that. That's what we're supposed to do too. That's what I'm doing. I'm focused on myself and my business. And, if they're doing great, great. I applaud you. If you're going to some assembly, a pep rally or whatever, a training to help you up, okay, great. But for me, myself, I'm going to make sure that my systems are in place. And I hope that yours are as well. And that way you can continue to move forward in the future. Okay. So with that said, I wanted to bring this report up to you so that you're up to speed. If anyone out there questions you, hey, make sure that you yourself are, keeping up to date with your systems. You're proficient. There's a quote that I go with here. Now, it's not from a book. I was gonna grab a book, but I just dropped it here. But there's a book. There's a saying, and I have also lots of sayings that I'm gonna share with you here as time goes on. So make sure to like and subscribe to this channel to get more information of whatever's filling my head. Right? There's a reason why my hair is crazy like this, because there's so many ideas just trying to get out of my head. But still, there's a saying that says, what looks like skill is often routine, is often habit, right? So I want to encourage that habit in you as well. So let's keep it going. And yeah, make sure to like this video, and make sure to leave any comments if you have anything to say about this topic. And I'll see you in the next video.